Hello everyone, it's been officially confirmed. Warhammer bases are getting larger. Everything on a 20mm base is being replaced with 25mm bases. The rumours were true, and although Games Workshop is saying that we won't necessarily need to rebase for casual play, the reality very much looks like our old armies need to be rebased onto bigger bases or put onto a movement tray which allows for the same effect. I think we all saw that coming to a certain extent, but I think it is disappointing for those of us with large collections or those of us that have been busily getting ready for the old world, as there could be quite a bit of work to do to get our armies back to being in a ready state to play. Having said that, I do think it's good that Games Workshop have actually come out and said that. There's been a lot of speculation for quite a long time. They could have said it earlier, to be honest. It was clear that the community cared quite a lot about this, but there we go. We're looking at bigger bases. As for those bases that aren't originally on 20mm squares, so the cavalry bases and the 25mm square bases, so things like Chaos Warriors, etc. All they've said is that the unit entries in the rules will say what the right type of base is. What they don't do is say that now. So those of you who are basing armies that require a 25mm, so Warriors of Chaos, Orcs, for example, anything along those sort of lines, we still don't know what the answer is, which is quite frustrating. What else does the latest update tell us? Well, there is a repeat of previous confirmation that models aren't getting bigger, but let's face it, we've had scale creep for years. They will be, they're just not going to be in radically different scales. So you're still going to have your heroic 28mm or 32mm, however you prefer to label them. Last but not least, we see some of the complete Bretonnian figures. Now, we've seen bits of them before, and I've done a video talking about what you could see on the shields and what I liked and disliked about the models. But we didn't see complete figures at that time. Now we do. Do I think they look sensible? Well, I think my comments on the shields, etc. still stand. But as complete figures, they do look really nice. And one of the things around the pictures that does really stand out to me, however, is the lance formation. Now, the lance formation is something that we've seen knights use for a long time, right back to when they first came into existence. But in 6th, 7th, 8th edition, that formation was a rectangle of 3 by 3. Now, in my previous army book, the shape of a lance was a wedge formation, and that seems to be what we can see in the image on Warhammer Community. It's really going back to an older style, and to be honest, the flying wedge that's actually a wedge, I think that looks quite a lot cooler than your 3 by 3 block. And what's interesting in the picture as well is that you don't seem to have a champion at the head of this formation. The champion and musician is in the second row. Front and centre of the charging unit is the unit standard bearer. So we're seeing some quite interesting changes in relation to the formation. Bretonnians also seem to be getting some almost sub-factions. So you've got your classic Bretonnians. They're also talking about introducing rules for exile and crusade armies. So Dishonoured Knights, perhaps an errantry crusade as an option. So it looks like there's actually quite an awful lot going on within the way that the game's going to be structured, and a lot of ways of giving different flavour to the armies. it would be really helpful if there's perhaps 2 or 3 options for each of the forces in different ways that it will A, look, and B, play. Certainly, looking back to the old army books, there were often rules for different ways of playing it outside of the standard. So for Empire, for example, you might have rules for a force from Nuln, which had a greater emphasis on black powder weapons and cannon, that sort of stuff. So all in all, quite a meaty update this time round. Doubtlessly more to follow, but we'll see what happens, I think. But for now, yeah, definitely looks like the game's moving in the right direction. We're definitely seeing more information, and it's good to see that some of the burning questions the community has are starting to get answered. If you've enjoyed this video and like listening to my thoughts around all things Warhammer and other gaming systems, do consider dropping a like and subscribe. All that remains to say is thank you very much for listening. This is Return to the Old World. Have a great day.